In November of 2017, I took just a random service call one day at a truss plant and was in a work accident there. I was crushed in a piece of equipment, and basically it was a press that somebody got on when they were unauthorized, and it basically, long story short, it crushed me into a metal 4x4 post. Broke my sternum, shattered my clavicle, crushed me from behind. I fractured 7 vertebrae, tore a couple holes in some skin, and fractured my scapula. One of the worst parts about it was it destroyed all the nerve function in my left shoulder. Once I made it out of the equipment, I remember just flopping on the ground, and I knew that I was in bad shape because I could hear the bones breaking and snapping. The paramedics arrived. They very carefully got me on a board and then extricated me from the work area. On the ambulance ride to the hospital, I just remember looking at the top of the ambulance, staring at this LED light, and honestly, the first thing I thought of was, oh shoot, like my bow.
We knew there was an alternative, but in order to block the crossbow, we decided to push for this permit to modify this archery equipment. And the Montana Bowhunters Association lobbied for it, helped with the writings and stuff, and it took us several years. But we had to have an alternative. You can't just say, we don't want you, you got to go do this and find some other way. We stepped up and said, we will supply you with this. We'll research it, we'll help you with any challenge that you have.
We felt like it was time for Montana Bowhunters to step positively forward and try to accommodate every disability or handicap that might be out there in some way so everybody could participate in archery hunting. And we did that. We basically took a look at every kind of equipment that was out there. We wanted to make it fairly simple, but yet we wanted to have limitations. We didn't want everybody to just run down because they had a sore shoulder and get a modified archery permit.
So with that nerve damage, what they don't know is what's inside. So I had a procedure done to repair my left clavicle. So I was told, heal up from that. The best option for these nerves is to heal naturally. When they go in and they try to splice or graft in foreign nerves from other parts of your body, it's really finicky on whether it holds and takes or not. So I went about a year. By then I had lost all muscle mass in my left shoulder. I could only really use my arm from the elbow down. I had hand function, and then from basically forearm, couldn't elevate the shoulder or anything. So yeah, it was not getting better. So that meant we needed to try corrective surgery.
We ended up purchasing a Hickory Crick draw lock, and it's a very efficient draw lock system. And we had an opportunity to help a fella that only had the use of one arm. And so there was no way for him to shoot a draw lock with just one arm. By trade, I've been a machinist, for 40 some years. And so I just went in my shop and I started dinking around, and I developed a one-armed trigger lock system so that a person that only has the use of one arm can still shoot a conventional bow from the riser.
I was surprised when I started looking at all the equipment that was available already to adapt bows to be able to shoot with virtually any handicap. There are tripod-mounted compounds, there are draw locks that are triggered by as little as a breath of air can trigger a release that will allow you to shoot a compound bow off a tripod. So literally you can sit in a wheelchair with not having the ability to use arms or legs and still shoot a bow.
So the summer of 2018, I went to XXX Archery. A good friend of mine, Corey Miller, owns a bow shop there in Oregon, and I told Corey what I was thinking about doing, and he had never done anything like this, but he kind of knew the gist of what I was trying to achieve. So we grabbed a bow off the shelf, just a baseline bow. On the back of your string, you have your D-loop. So all we would do at this point in time I'd take like a dog collar, a 3/8 strap, nylon strap, feed the dog collar through the D-loop, and then sew that dog collar shut. And it would be long enough, about 1.5 inches long, to seat to the back of my molars. So I could bite down on the tab through the D-loop and then push forward to cam the bow over. Just to shoot the bow, you just open your mouth. Last year, my 2019 season was my second season shooting the mouth tab. I was much more efficient at shooting it. I had bumped my effective range out to 40 yards, and I had redesigned my mouth tab. I had 2 elk tags at the time. I had my Montana general season elk tag, and I also had an over-the-counter archery elk tag in Idaho. So I was ready to hit it in full force this year. Many times I got within 50 yards, 55, and it was not 40, not 40. I'm not shooting at 55. I'm not shooting at 50. I'm not effective enough. 3 to 5 hours later of just chasing bulls, I kind of sat down with frustration, and it was like, they're still here, just pick it up and get back after it. And I'm on a trail, and the herd was out in front of me. They were basically on the same trail, and I caught movement to my left, and I noticed a spike bull coming into my left. He hadn't seen me, and I knew that he was headed to the trail I was standing on. Knowing that and judging where he was, I assumed he would step onto the trail at about 40 yards between 2 trees. Obviously, everybody wants to kill a giant bull, but I've got my mouth tag rig. Spikes are legal in Idaho, and you didn't have to talk me into shooting this bull. And he did just that. He picked his way gingerly down to the trail, stopped in the trail. He kind of caught something, looked my way. I was already drawn back. He was 40 yards, anchored the pin on it, and I shot him broadside at 40 yards. Bull ran 40 yards and died. It's a perfect scenario. I had killed a bull with my mouth tab.